National Novel Writing Month is upon us once again, but before you take part in this year's festivities, maybe you should think twice. Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, my name is David Webb and I made this channel to give you the best tips on writing and creativity so you can finally finish your book or have that creative career you've always dreamed of. It is inching closer and closer to November, and with November comes National Novel Writing Month, the month of the year when writers around the globe decide to sit down and write 50,000 words all in one month. Now, there are plenty of channels on YouTube that are talking all about how you should participate in National Novel Writing Month, but I'm not like those other channels. Here are 6 reasons why you should take part in NaNoWriMo. No, I'm here to tell you why you should not participate in National Novel Writing Month. And no, before you click away, this is not a joke video. I seriously considered making a funny video and having reason number 1 be the fact that you're afraid of commitment. No, this is a serious take on why you maybe shouldn't participate in National Novel Writing Month. And if you got all excited about it from last week's video, that's great. I'm not here to kill the enthusiasm. I'm merely here to offer a realistic perspective on why you might not want to participate. Starting it off with number 1, the win-lose scenario that National Novel Writing Month puts you into is not necessarily the ideal situation for a creative. Some creative people thrive under the deadline-driven approach. They get off, if you will, on pushing themselves to their limits, on gamifying their creative approach. They succeed best when they treat it as some sort of a game. But not all writers handle this that well, especially when the work of a creative is prone to a lot of second guessing, a lot of doubt. Putting the additional pressure on yourself to either win or lose can be quite overwhelming. If you're one of those people, you have 2 choices. You can use National Novel Writing Month as a way to overcome this and to learn how to handle deadlines and to engage in your craft in a way that is a little outside of your comfort zone, or you can take what is perhaps the better option to you and refrain to save yourself the stress and the anxiety of it. I'm of the opinion that if you can get over this initial hurdle, it will help you out, especially in your career as a writer, when you may face deadlines down the road that you will have to overcome in some way. Most writers who have ever had a deadline have come up with ways to gamify their approach to writing. But if you're not comfortable doing this yet, or at all, there's nothing wrong with that. And if you need to take a step back from National Novel Writing Month because you're not in the best place mentally or emotionally, that's perfectly understandable. Number 2, maybe you can't write that fast. If you could only manage a few hundred words a day, I used to be you. I was once in your shoes. I totally get it. There's not enough time in the day to write. I get it. Maybe the mere thought of putting down 1,667 words is just too much. Maybe you really are that busy. Maybe you have 6 kids and a career. Maybe you have a demanding social life. Whatever the case, not everyone has the time for National Novel Writing Month. And if you don't, maybe it's not the best idea to intentionally put yourself through it and force yourself to get the words down when you just don't have the time. That said, if you are wanting to take writing seriously, this could be a great opportunity for you to reprioritize your life. Maybe schedule your writing like I talked about last week. But for some people, it's just not going to work. Reason number 3, maybe you shouldn't write that fast. Maybe you have all the time in the world, but you're one of those people who needs to take their time with their writing. Maybe by forcing yourself to rush, you're missing out on that critical time that you can spend reflecting on your writing, preparing for what's to come, outlining the next scene before you write it, dreaming up new ways to torture your characters or enthrall your readers. Now, with all that said and done, writing the daily required amount for National Novel Writing Month should only take 2 to 3 hours at most. If you're a very slow writer, maybe even 4. So if you need that extra time, but you still might be able to fit it into your day, maybe consider it. But if you know that you force yourself to write so many words per day and the quality is just going to suffer because of it, maybe NaNoWriMo isn't for you. Of course, keep in mind, all first drafts suck. So don't take this as an excuse to put off National Novel Writing Month because you think your writing might suffer because of it. But if you truly believe that the daily required word count is not going to fit your style of writing and it's only going to hinder you, don't do it. The 4th reason why you should not participate in National Novel Writing Month is if you are trying to write a book and publish it. Now, before you get all angry at me in the comments, I am talking to our newer writers here, those who have maybe never finished a book before. Do not expect to participate in National Novel Writing Month and be able to send your book to a publisher. Chances are very good that it is not going to end well for you. Yes, seasoned writers can finish a book and the quality won't suffer at all. They'll be able to send it off to an editor and have it published a month after that. However, if you are just starting out, you have to approach National Novel Writing Month as practice. You just have to. Yes, with enough time and attention, your first draft could turn into a published book, but not until after several rounds of editing. Yes, there are the odd success story where someone wrote their first novel during National Novel Writing Month and got it published. But in the vast majority of those cases, it saw a lot of editing and a lot of revisions. In most cases, if you've never written a book before, NaNoWriMo will be practice. And that's pretty much it. I should know I wrote plenty of books that were nothing more than practice, many of them during National Novel Writing Month. So if you're a new writer and you're coming to NaNoWriMo with nothing more than an outline or even just an idea, and you think that you're going to come out the other side with a finished book that you can just send to a publisher, think again. The fifth reason why you should not participate in NaNoWriMo is because November is a really terrible month to do anything. Seriously, I would love to have words with whoever thought that NaNoWriMo would be a great idea to schedule in November. I don't know if they live on some remote farm in the Netherlands where they don't celebrate any national holidays or they don't have any family, but there are far better months in which to write a novel. If you want to take a little extra time in November to spend time with family, with friends, cooking Thanksgiving, going Black Friday shopping, getting ready for Christmas, scheduling holidays, no one would blame you for choosing not to participate in NaNoWriMo. Sure, you could argue that you can schedule time to write around the holidays, and I always find myself doing just that. But not everyone is going to be able to have that kind of flexibility. Maybe you work retail, and if you do, I am very sorry for you. But I would totally understand why someone who works in retail would choose not to participate in NaNoWriMo. So if you know that the holiday season is going to be particularly brutal for you, maybe National Novel Writing Month isn't for you. And finally, the sixth reason why you should not participate in National Novel Writing Month is because you can get stuck in the trap of comparison. This one is another take on the mental health aspect of writing, and I think it's important to reinforce these points because it is vitally important that we stay mentally healthy as creatives. After all, creative work can be taxing on our mental health. And when you participate in National Novel Writing Month, you are implicitly or explicitly comparing yourself to other writers. You're putting yourself in a box with thousands, hundreds of thousands of other writers who are all trying to reach the same goal. And on one hand, that's great. You have a sense of community. You have people you can bond with over this shared quest. But on the other hand, it is all too easy to start comparing yourself to these other writers. It is incredibly easy to see their progress bars go up day by day, and yours isn't moving quite as fast. You could even be on target, hitting the goal that you set for yourself, and still feel like you don't quite measure up to someone who is still writing faster than you are. And to a lot of writers, this is incredibly dangerous. Comparison can be a creativity killer. It can be a productivity killer, a motivation killer. And while some writers can distance themselves from that, separate their own emotional and mental state and how they see themselves and their writing from how they look at other writers, not everyone can do that. Some people really struggle with comparison. Some people find it all too easy to go into a downward spiral when they see a peer performing better. Maybe you're someone who doesn't struggle with this and you don't quite understand the kind of pressure it can put on people. But trust me when I say that it is a very real concern. And if you're someone who struggles with this, maybe you shouldn't participate in National Novel Writing Month. Again, I like to think of it as a hurdle to overcome, a goal to reach that will better yourself mentally and emotionally. But if you know that it's going to be particularly hard on you, it may not be the right choice for you. And that's it, the 6 reasons why you should not participate in NaNoWriMo. I feel like these reasons aren't quite talked about enough because a lot of people do have very real concerns with NaNoWriMo. They have very real struggles, and it's easy to look at someone and maybe even judge them for not participating or not finishing NaNoWriMo. But the fact of the matter is, it's not for everyone. So before you jump in headfirst, I highly recommend that you take a close look at yourself, your schedule, your priorities, and decide whether or not National Novel Writing Month is right for you. For those of you who are participating in NaNoWriMo, be sure to click the link down in the description below to join our Discord so you can write right along with us. For all things writing, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss an upload. And until next time, get some writing done.